Hey guys, Ludeus here, bringing you another Battlefield 6 gameplay video, and more or less we're going to be discussing the map Empire State. So personally, I actually really enjoyed this map. I think it's actually probably one of the better sort of close quarters infantry only maps they've done, and I've seen a lot of people complaining about this, and like since the beta, about how it's a Call of Duty map, and I don't know, like stuff like that. And it just, to me, I just don't understand where that argument is coming from. Like, sure, the map is small, but it's not that small, and it definitely feels smaller than it is, judging by basically what I was talking about on Wednesday. So if you don't know, I put out a video on Wednesday discussing like the density of the Battlefield 6 maps. I re-uploaded it as of today, so when this video is being recorded and uploaded. Yeah, because there was a audio issue, so that's now back. But coming back to this, I think the reason why people were thinking this is a COD map and it's too small or whatever is because it's actually just a very densely packed map. There is obviously it's not without its problems. I still think there is a lot of verticality on this map, and you can get into some places where you shouldn't really be able to get into. Like a lot of the apartment buildings are all fully enterable for one, so that makes verticality very difficult to judge. But for the most part, it's just because the map itself actually isn't that small. I would actually probably say it's roughly the same size as something like Devastation from Battlefield 5, or even Rotterdam from Battlefield 5. It's just that there is a lot more around. Like when you think about it, like obviously you've got the two big main buildings which you can enter, which have multiple floors, but then the streets aren't empty like they are in Battlefield 5. Like when you think about like Rotterdam, for example, most of the streets are just straight up empty. There's like nothing down them. There's maybe a car here and a car there, but here there's stuff everywhere. There's barricades, there's walls, there's cars, there's a fire engine, there's like containers. There's so the map feels smaller because the actual play space just has more in it for you to utilize. So I don't get why people are saying this is like a Call of Duty map, because in my mind they couldn't be far from it. In terms of even Battlefield maps, I would even say sure it's a one of these smaller close quarters maps. That's what it's designed to be, because obviously it has no vehicles on it. However, it's not as small as people are making it out to be. It's really not. Like the actual like play space you can run around in is actually pretty large. Like when you if you take a look at between like the two furthest points, which I believe would be um, A and E on this map, they're a good few hundred meters apart from one another, and that's quite a lot of distance to travel on foot. Like obviously, there is valid criticism with the beta only giving us kind of these smaller maps. I do agree they should have given us one of the bigger ones to play on, but things like even Abbasid is not a small map. People seem to think it is, but it's really not. It's just, again, iterating what the other video said, it's just a very dense map. The maps we got to play were all very dense, minus Liberation Peak, right? Liberation Peak was definitely the biggest map we got to play, and that was a pretty large map. Like, it's very linear, of course, but I think why it feels a lot smaller is because they've just managed to somehow put a lot more assets into the map to fill them out, so there doesn't seem to be any wasted space or empty space, so to speak. I mean, there is some, and there's some on all of the maps, but it's not. You're never, unlike 2042, right? Let's bring 2042 into the equation here. There are some maps like Hourglass where you're just running in a desert and there's absolutely nothing. There's nothing to hide behind if you start getting shot at. It's basically dodge and hope you survive, Whereas in, you know, Battlefield 6, for example, in Liberation Peak, like if you're running out in the open and someone starts shooting you, there's always like a rock to hide behind, there's always like a barricade to get behind, there's always a house nearby or a cliff face. You know, they've added so much more stuff to break lines of sight, as well as keeping them open. And I think going back to Empire State is it's in the very same boat. There are some very long lines of sight on this map. Not that like people complained about those. It's just that in between there's also lots of small cover. You know, you can just see in the clip right now. There's trucks, there's barricades, there's cars, there's containers, there's HESCO blocks. There is so much there that it kind of feels like it's small because there's a lot of stuff around you, so it's more densely packed than it would be if like 2042 map. We don't talk about 2042 maps because they're just kind of a bit, well, they're probably some of the worst maps in the franchise, let's be honest, or they are the worst maps in the franchise. Redacted is probably the outlier there. Redacted was actually a pretty good map. But you can kind of see it actually with the newest update to 2042 as well. Like I'll say with Iwo Jima, they've kind of got the same philosophy that there is actually a lot of cover on that map. There's trench lines, there's lots of rocks, there's lots of undulation, cliffs, tunnels, things to hide behind, even though it's a open map. So it's really good to see that this is the way they're going. I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. I still agree that we do need some of those bigger open maps because that's the best way to get like that all-out warfare feel, really. And I'm sure there will be those maps. And, you know, maybe it was their mistake in just only having these sort of more densely packed maps in the beta. That being said, I think they're all fantastic. I don't agree with people saying like the maps are COD maps because that's just factually false. And yeah, I'm going to probably stop rambling about this now. We're not long now till the release of the game. Like literally, 35 days? I cannot wait. But yeah, if you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe. I will catch you in the next one. Until then, bye-bye.
Come on! Relax, Ziba. I owe you one. I got enemy in sight! Contact! Enemy infantry! Let's move! Here's some med supplies. Grab what you can. Let's move! An extra man supplies here! We need to hold the area! Hold the objective! Let's go!
Oh, shotgun. Of course.
Okay, I got you! I got you! I got you! Secure the objective!
Okay. Of course, we're losing Alpha. Oh. Damn.
Come on!
Really, bro? Get out of here.
Let's go!
Yeah. Damn it, bro.